An OU freshman has ran 3 marathons and plans to run 47 more, one in each state. It all began over 2 years ago, and despite facing a debilitating disease, she runs for her mother. With the story is Kurek.
5:40 a.m. That's when the alarm goes off. It's so tempting to hit snooze and sleep longer. You have every reason to fall back to sleep for another hour or two. Colleen Murnane does too, as someone who suffers from hypothyroidism, but she doesn't. She's out of bed and in her size 5 Brooks Pureflow running shoes before the sun rises. First, she takes her thyroid medication, puts her contacts in, then she's out of her dorm whether it's 20 or 80 degrees outside. She chooses to work out or run 5, 6, or 7 miles before class because she wants to.
I do marathons as part of living my life for more than one purpose. Just doing everything with reason, but more focusing on the desire to do something and not the reason to do it. So my mom was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when I was 15, and we had previous experiences that were debilitating, like my father's death and other financial issues, but soon after she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, she also lost her job.
One day, the Circleville family had a discussion about running. Her mother, Deborah, had ran 2 marathons when she was younger. That resonated with Colleen. She believed running was just what she needed to do to motivate her mother back onto her feet.
She's been like a role model to me in many ways. With all of her perseverance and determination, and I think, well, my gosh, I've seen what all she's gone through. I feel like a wimp if I don't get out there and at least try to do stuff,
Deborah said seeing Colleen react this positively to adversity has had an immense impact on her. Now she has a job in health services in Mount Carmel. Also, she's joining her daughter in her Marathon in Every State plan by walking the half marathons. She described watching her daughter cross the finish line for the first time.
She finished it. I'm so glad she finished. I'm just so happy to see her cross that finishing line, and I could tell from her face it was a struggle for her. But it was like she did it, and I'm so proud and so happy.
It's not instant gratification, but that's what makes it worth it. I think after crossing my first marathon, other than the thought was like, thank God I can stop moving right now, I was more like, I just ran a marathon. I don't know how many 17-year-olds can say that, and I don't know how many people in the world can say that, but I can.
It was just days after that first marathon in Cuyahoga National Park in October 2015 when Colleen faced her own medical issue. Hypothyroidism stole her ability to stay awake. It happens when the thyroid stops producing enough hormones. In other words, the metabolism stops functioning correctly, or maybe at all. It can cause hair loss, weight gain, and a general sense of fatigue. In Colleen's case, her palms and feet even dried out and turned orange. Her mother noticed that in an emergency room. Colleen described the Friday night when symptoms became unbearable.
It was the night before I had a swim meet. I was on the couch, and I kept falling asleep uncontrollably, and I went to the bathroom, and then I ended up apparently sitting there for half an hour because I couldn't remember why I went in there. And I had started losing my focus in school. I didn't understand what was going on a lot of the time. I just did not feel like myself, and so I got really scared, and I called my mom.
And she called me, and she says, Mom, I need to go to the emergency room. I said, well, what's wrong? She goes, I don't feel right.
And I told her that I felt like something was wrong. And she initially didn't believe me because the symptoms of hypothyroidism can be obviously chalked up to stress or something like that. So even when I came to the urgent care, the doctor was still kind of skeptic.
But then they drew a bunch of lab work, and the next day is when we found out that her thyroid level was off.
The doctor told my mom that he had no idea how I ran a marathon or how I'm doing, how I'm getting through my days because my thyroid was so, depleted, so to speak.
The worst was over. Colleen was prescribed medication and her condition improved. Training for her second marathon could begin. It took place in July 2016 in Minnesota, where she raced 26.2 miles along Lake Superior. But nothing has been perfect. She faced trips to the doctor to check thyroid levels often, and now, as an exercise physiology major, This athlete balances her condition with schoolwork and training.
If I'm too tired to do something, then sometimes I have to accept that. I've read a story once about having, people with debilitating diseases always carry an extra spoon in their pocket, meaning that they're always prepared, which I am. I know when to stop, I know when I need to take a rest, and I know that sometimes I can't do everything. I can't stay up late like other college students. I just can't do some of the things that they do, but I think that my disease has made me more aware of my body.
But she does what she can do, and she can raise money for multiple sclerosis, another reason for running a marathon in every state in the country.
I think that anyone is capable of doing it, even if you have to walk it, even if you have to be in a wheelchair, even if you're crawling at the end. It doesn't matter.
Her next race will be in Iowa on June 10th. Colleen's not running away from anything. Not her thyroid condition, not her father's death, and not her mother's multiple sclerosis. Instead, she's running toward a future as certain as the sunrise she experiences at dawn as she runs on the Athens bike path. That's why she gets up at 5:40 a.m. For The Outlet, I'm Connor Kurek.